All right, boys, girls, and Jamaican patties. I hope you're all having a good day, cause I am, and I actually quite like this episode. Um, I don't really know where to begin because I kind of want to talk about the thing, but at the same time, this is a Grendizer review, so I should probably talk about Grendizer. So, we find out more about Duke and his relationship with both princesses. And yeah, so bro, it's kind of a good thing this isn't a harem show because this is what happens in real life. People get jealous and mean, and all that jazz, and you can kind of infer that her being so emotional about Duke's betrayal is just mainly due to the fact that Duke basically broke her heart and then she was trying to bear it. So this is just kind of an extension of it, which, okay, it doesn't completely invalidate her stupidity that she showed previously. However, it does make it more tolerable because, understanding something does genuinely make it, easier to get behind. Um, Speaking of understanding, though, we finally got the full blown character arc of the white haired guy. I'm gonna be frank. I refuse to know his name. You guys know who I'm talking about. The knight I hate. That guy. So, spoilers. He dies. But before that, he straight up just betrays everyone, and it's like, nah, he ain't getting no redemption arc, and I am so happy. I did not want no redemption arc, and that bastard is dead. He is dead, and I am happy for it. I am happy that he is dead. I regret nothing. Um, Also, his death was pretty brutal, bro. Like, she shot like almost like a mini black hole at him that like turned his body into like a weird. It like sucked his body into like a weird sphere. It was awesome. Like, genuinely, that is the kind of messed up like go Nagai stuff that I love. And it's been fun. Personally, um, I'm trying to talk about the least interesting stuff before I get to the guy's he's the thumbnail. Okay, it's good. I've talked about the other stuff. So in order to bring about all the stuff, right, and fight off this invasion of the base, Koji gets in the new Mazinger, except it's not actually Mazinger Z anymore. It's Mazinger X. And I actually quite like the design. Everything about the normal base Mazinger unit is awesome. I think personally the plane not plane the Scrander is a bit over designed, and I think just having it be a more advanced version of the Jet Scrander rather than look like an X might have served it better, because I think now it has almost too much going on with the Scrander, but at the same time, it does look really cool. Also, we got showcased of its upgraded Hurricane attack, which is awesome, and it's genuinely just awesome. Also, Professor Yumi might be dead. It kind of seemed like he was gonna die, and from what he was implying, being like, "Oh, take care of Sayaka," which, like, damn, you know, you kind of normally don't say that unless you die. But we haven't seen a body, and if there's one thing I know about anime is that like you don't trust character deaths. Um, Also, I'm a One Piece fan, so I know better than anyone. Death doesn't matter, and like until you literally see a gravestone with that person's name on it, they are dead. And even then, there's like a 20% chance that they will come back. So yeah, I I was pretty happy with the total result. Everything about this episode was pretty good, although I think the animation was a little bit clunky. However, they did also use a decent chunk of 2D animation to show Mazinger X, which I really do appreciate, in any form, to be honest. Like, no matter what form it is, as long as it's Like, I'm always gonna appreciate 2D and mecha just because I prefer that style, man. And not much else to it. But yeah, overall, it was really good. I did say it was a little clunky, and it is. It's not horrible though. It's just, I guess, since the main comparison is Code Geass, which just recently ended, it's all the animation does look clunkier than that. However, its first episode was alarmingly really good for Grendizer as far as animation goes. So it is kind of odd, but I also think a few of the episodes in the future are going to look really good. So I look forward to that. But also, this one doesn't have as many narrative problems as Code Geass, so obviously comparing the two is also quite difficult because one's a super robot, one's a real robot, one's a sequel to a franchise, one's a reboot. Like, it is definitely a mixed bag. Now, I wouldn't say, I'm not trying to say one is better than the other, but personally, I do lean more to Grendizer, and I also think that it offers more to its respective canon, and what I mean, or I guess franchise in general. Just because Grendizer coming back is a notable, feat, especially since it has not made a major appearance since, what was it, like 2000? No, not. I'm thinking of major or minor appearance. So major, obviously the original TV show, and like it hasn't shown up since. Maybe a few of the Toei specials, and then minor appearances. It showed up in like as a reference as a unit born out of Mazinger Z's Koji Kabuto's imagination, making super robots in Shin Mazinger Zero, where it got a tiny cameo. But apart from that, it's never around. So it coming back is much more notable than, a kind of sequel to Code Geass that people haven't really liked. Also, depending on how well this does, it could lead up to future installments. For example, there was a talk of a Shin Great. There's obviously Shin Mazinger Edition Z The Impact, which I highly recommend. But there was initially going to be a Great Mazinger of that show, like a Great Mazinger sequel to Shin Mazinger, which would have been really interesting. Unfortunately, no one has ever made it, obviously, as of the fact I have not watched it and it is not out. But with this coming back, it might set the boundary for animation studios to look back on these older franchises and maybe continue things. There was also a notable key to that in the form of Get a Robo Arc, which I did also enjoy, and I would say, oddly enough, is probably the closest comparison that Grendizer U has. Now, it is. I guess I have been quite off topic with comparing these two other shows. That's just because this episode was really solid, but didn't necessarily push the plot that forward apart from Mazinger Z. And the okay, so the silver haired guy died, right? Mazinger Z finally took off. But when you really look at it, it's a continuation of the previous episode. The base is still getting invaded. And then we just find out more context towards each of the characters. So it's not necessarily like big revelations happen. And all the other stuff that did happen in this episode will most likely be capitalized in future installments of the series. And I mean future episodes. That's what I mean by that. But anyway, you kind of understand what I'm saying. It's not a crazy notable episode, but it definitely pushed the plot forward. And it is rather enjoyable. Although one thing I've been noticing with all kinds of shows now is they do feel kind of rushed. Because, like, thinking about it right now, we have 2 episodes left of Grendizer. So it's 100% going to be, like, the final fight, and that's it, So it's gotten to the point where, I'm going to say it, I think mecha shows in particular, but honestly just all shows, bro, start bloody making, like, 24 episodes. Like, I just watched the show called Aquarion, and it's a really mediocre show. I'm not gonna lie. It's not some crazy awesome, oh my god, I love it so much, it's the greatest thing ever. It's better than sliced bread, like, it's not that good. But its filler episodes, for some reason, are pretty fire, because it's not really filler episodes. It's just episodes where they just chillax, where we see the plot isn't really being moved. The only thing that's being moved is the characters interacting and get a better scope of this now. And I kind of wish we had more episodes like that. And even if you say, oh, well, 24 episodes would naturally stagger the plot, you could honestly, even like an extra episode would do so much for so many shows. And that is true here. Like, obviously, it's not terrible, right? But for example, like we have episodes where Koji and the Koji, Daisuke, and all the entire main cast, right? They all go out to an aquarium. They all go do this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I do appreciate those aspects. However, simply put, they're not that engaging, and they only have like a minute or two to do what they need to do. And compare that to like episodes with longer run counts, we'll just find out random things about random characters, and that just adds so much. Like, I'm sorry, I want to find out what Koji's weird, like, what he's oddly scared of. Like, is he oddly scared of like spiders with hair but not spiders without? Like that, just adding more aspects to the character makes them feel exactly like more of a character. Now, I know this is kind of a weird tangent to go on, but I don't know. It has been quite notable in the industry, especially now that like the style seems to be 12 episodes, or it's just adapting the manga. However, I don't believe this is adapting any manga, from what I know of. Okay, technically it is adapting the manga, but I think it's adapting it very loosely from what I've seen of both the manga and the show. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Anyway, though, I have been yapping for a little bit. So, final thoughts are the episode was good. Mazinger X is awesome, and I really do appreciate it, and I think it's a good step for Mazingers in the future. I am curious to see where it goes, and the episode overall was really good. It kind of brought a nice, it kind of wrapped up a lot of things. So now, while starting just a few new ones, just so we can, set into the final two episodes, the final arc, you know? Anyway, overall, I'd give it probably 7? I think 7 out of 10. Yeah, 7's good. Alright, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. This is Rox, signing out. Peace.